Hey guys, welcome back to Only the Brave with myself, Dane. And today's episode is going to be one for the books. We are celebrating Women's Month in South Africa, and as you would have seen with last week's episode, we had spoken to a survivor, and my guest today is here to share his story and his activism. He is the founder and activist of Ride Abuse. So I'm so excited to have my guest here with me today, Lunga. Welcome to the show, Lunga.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So you got comfortable, I'm glad.
Yes.
Generally,
yes.
people come on here and they're a bit nervous, so...
Yes, thank you so much for firstly inviting me, having me as a guest on your show. I'm excited. I've seen a few of the other shows you've done. This is a remarkable show.
It?
Yes, I have.
I'm glad you have.
I love the aesthetics, I love the preparation. I feel that's why I'm also just feeling really at home.
Yes.
And just relaxing and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I want my guests to come onto the show and to be comfortable so that you can speak your truth, you know. Because like what I do find is that people do get nervous, I think a little bit intimidated.
Yeah.
But that's the journey of vulnerability. You have to just like break down those walls and share your story, because you don't know who you're going to touch with your story.
Indeed.
All right.
Very
so yes, so the thing is, I was going to tell people about your campaign, but I think it would be perfect if you tell us what Ride Abuse is about.
Okay. Ride Abuse is a non-profit organization that I formed together with a friend of mine, Ronald Atibula, in 2018. It was a continuation of a conversation and a journey that I began in 2015 with myself. Having gone through abuse.
Yeah.
When I say having gone through abuse, having experienced abuse being inflicted upon me by another, and having then transformed in that process to then also then becoming a perpetrator or someone who inflicted the abuse on someone else. So I kind of went full circle. So basically, Ride Abuse is an answer. Mm-hmm. Basically, it was a one man's journey to seek an answer to what was tormenting me and people around me, and I want to just break free.
Yeah.
In essence, that is what Ride Abuse is literally seeking the heart of mankind just to heal. Yeah. And ask us tough questions. Yeah. So it in its nature, that's how I've discovered now with healing, even us being here and having met you too. Once you start going on that journey and you tap into the universe and say, yo, here, count me in, it kind of opens up and everything opens up. So I then started doing it for others, because I heard the cry of many men, women, and children. So,
and you heard that cry and you answered.
Yeah.
Which is quite important. And when I was reading about Ride Abuse, I know, so you travel across the country on your bike, which is very brave. It's a very brave form of activism, because with that there's so many challenges that go into that. And I know you travel to different cities on your bike and you interact with people from all walks of life. What has been your takeaway from interacting with those community people from the community?
The biggest takeaway, thank you, Dane, that's a good question actually. The biggest takeaway for me in the last 5 years, I've been doing it for 5 years, is that we are all the same. Mm-hmm. We are all looking for the same thing.
Yes. We
are all disapproving of the same thing. And that's the common denominator with everyone I've met. I've met a man who parked cars. I'm wearing this now. There's a gentleman I met in East London when I was cycling through. I think that was after day 27. Initially, I had planned to cycle to Cape Town, 27 days, but I already surpassed that date. As you can imagine, some things are happening inside of me at that point in time. My body's broken too. I'm losing hope. Yeah. In actual fact, I had lost hope at that moment. Cycling to East London, my bike broke down. In the midst of losing hope, my bike breaks down. Oh. I'm lost with everything. I can't get there, but I eventually do, and I meet a total stranger. Total stranger is a white man. He looked like he was sun tanning. When I saw him, he's like kind of proud. I've been sitting in the sun for a while, He's got this
getting his tan on.
Yeah, good life problems, No, he's a car god. Mm-hmm. He saw me standing there. Before I knew it was a car guard, he saw me standing there and he's like, "Oh man, I had a bike like that."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, yeah, it's a vintage bike." He's like, "Yeah, back in the day, I cycled from Mozambique around South Africa. There was no Instagram and Facebook
Yeah,
then, so no one knows."
Yeah, you can document that.
I'm like, okay. And then we share stories like, "Why are you doing it?" I tell him I'm doing vagina-based violence. Why? I tell him my own story. I'm trying to find an answer. I believe God doesn't want this for us. What we do.
Yes.
So there's something wrong here. So I'm in search for that and giving other people hope in the same time. He's like, "Wait, I'm coming back." He's a backpacker. He went to the back. He came back with a book and a pair of glasses, shades, cycling shades. That same morning, I put up a post saying that my eyes hurt. I need the shades. Remember, I'm unemployed doing this thing. I don't have anything. I got people crowdfunding who are supporting me.
Yes.
From accommodation to food to everything. I put that post up in the morning. I met this gentleman in the evening.
And this guy's he has no social media, so he definitely did not.
He's busy parking cars, man.
Yeah,
You didn't see me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gives me a book. The title of the book says "Renewed Mind." The mantra I was saying to myself when I felt my body literally leave me was say, "I have a renewed mind, a revitalized body, and a re-energized spirit." I kept saying that over and over again. He gave me a book titled "The Renewed Mind."
Wow.
And he gave me food. I didn't have any money. He gave me food. And he gave me some to drink and to nutrition. He gave me all of this. And at the end of the night, he said to me, I asked him what he does. He's like, "I'm a car guard." He used his money from parking cars to feed me.
Yes.
And he said to me, "Why I have this?" He had a cross on it. He says, "Lunga, I've been carrying this for 10 years. It belongs to my father. My father abused my mother. I used to watch him beat my mother. I used to watch him degrade my mother. And I felt so powerless as a child that I used to pray every day that he dies. My mother's the one who died first. And I hang on to that because I still hated him. He passed on some years ago. But because I saw you now doing this, cycling here, and you got here, I'm ready to let go."
Yes.
And start continuing to preach the word of God and show that it is possible. He says to me, "Lunga, when the moment comes for you to give up, God steps in."
That was such a beautiful story, just because off air, before we started recording, you were listening to Abraham Hicks, and she speaks about manifesting, and you had already been in your vortex, and along comes this guy on your very difficult day, and he just changes the course of your journey and kind of like renews your strength.
Sorry, yeah, I cried that night, man. I cried hard. I mean, now I can feel him. Anyway, and every day I was meeting people like that.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm doing this, and this is why it's important for men to be able to heal, because we fear so much that if we step into healing, we're going to be exposed for either the liar that we are or the less of something that we are.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was very symbolic to take off everything, leave my securities, leave everything behind, and say I want to pick up something that everyone else maybe doesn't want to pick up.
Yeah.
And that's me. I'm dirty. I'm a bad man, but I gotta pick myself up.
Exactly. Yes. So just change yourself, change the narrative.
So that I don't know. I'm getting emotional, but anyway, that's the thing that we need to do.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing, because that's, and it's okay to get emotional, because it's also like showing the man that's watching this episode that it's okay, to be emotional. So thank you for your vulnerability. You mentioned that you were a victim as well. So did that inspire your activism?
It's gonna sound, I don't know, I think that really kind of beat it out of me to stand up, because what has happened, that's why it goes back to the first thing that we speak about in Right Abuse, which is his identity. That's a program. I think we're going to come to that at some later stage, but I had lost my way so much that I allowed myself to be in an environment where I had no business being in there. There's so many mitigating things that led for me to be there. One, why was I getting married at that particular time? Was I in the right state of mind? Was I emotionally ready? Was I financially ready?
Yes.
Was I everything else ready? All of those things. Prior preparation. For me, I need to do that. People around me could have done that. My mom, everybody will, because parents, that's another thing. We don't raise our children. We cultivate an environment for them to grow.
Yeah.
So, I was not ready. I was not the right man to get married. I was not even ready. It became a mess. I was an active drug user, an active alcoholic, an active, it was corruption in the mind. Everything was perverted and twisted. What I honor as loyalty, what I honor as love, what I honor as disloyalty, what I honor as faith, it was very twisted because I was very self-centered. And there's no two ways about it. I've spent maybe over 5 years. I'm 3 years clean from drugs now.
Congratulations.
Took myself away. Thank you. I took myself to rehab. After I noticed I cannot get the healing I need to get you applying behavior only. It's like you are pretending that I'm better.
Yeah,
look at me, I'm better. No, man, healing is hardcore. So in that environment, yes, I was in an abusive state, relationship where yes, I did get physically smacked. Yes, I did get emotionally and financially stretched at the time. One was not had odd jobs, on and off, because one can really sustain a job, trying to sustain a drug habit at the same time. One rules what the other. So that was a mess in itself. And look, I've had a long time to kind of address it and not make it about her, and not put the blame on her. What she done, was it right or wrong? It was wrong. What did I do?
Yeah, yes. What role did you play?
Because once I start there, then that's when my power came back. That's when I was able to let go of the failed marriage and forgive myself for having failed and having taken another child, through things.
Yes.
And also my son, who was then born and also is now feeling the ripple effects of actions I had taken years ago. There's something that he's going through, that he's feeling very challenged now as a young man, because Baba Geko, or Baba is there and there.
Yes.
That's why I've taken this everything I do is literally about
you.
And because if this part is fine, everything that extends for me will be okay.
100%. And I had an episode like that where I said we need to heal for ourselves, because when we heal for ourselves, those around us will benefit from the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for doing that for your child, for yourself, firstly for yourself, and then obviously the ripple effect of that is then for your extended family and your friends and those around you.
Yeah.
So yes, I just feel like, on all the episodes I speak so much, and it's so beautiful just sitting back and listening to your story. It's really inspiring me.
You must stop me, man. I'll talk. I'll take over this whole conversation.
I think there's
the brave with Lunga.
With Lunga, yeah. There's an opportunity for us to be co-hosts. I am open to it.
That'll be exciting.
I'm saying this on air. It's on the record, so you can always hold me to that. So you touched on with the community workshops, the dignity and the identity of those people in the communities that you visit. What are those? What do those workshops consist of?
Actually, I wrote it down because I know some things happen in my mind. But primarily, the first thing that I touched on is identity.
Yeah,
I'm a strong believer of let's look within, man. Like, let's forget about everything else. Forget about who says what, when, how, kanjani. Let us figure out who you are, why you're here.
Yes.
And from there, everything else will just follow. So it's identity, it's self-confidence. Those are the kind of things that, in actual fact, this year, 2021, this is the part where we are intentionally now focusing primarily on tangible things that you can give, which is the workshops.
Yeah.
We're talking about the path of absent fathers making their way back into their children's lives. That's the journey I had to go through myself. I got 3 of my own kids. that I navigate to get to them. So there is ways and steps. I think the biggest thing that we always miss as men is the how. We get told how messed up that is and that whatever, but no one comes back to say, okay, this is the how to get
back. Yes, exactly.
So there are skills that I've acquired over the years through my life coaching study that I've been through, and for counseling too. So I'm infusing those things to help. So it's her dignity for the woman. It's to replace dignity within a woman. Since I'm not a woman, I'm reaching out to others who are in that space, who are qualified and maybe passionate about empowering a sister or helping a sister from an abusive state to become more progressive. I believe that so much work is being done for women and children so far. I want to focus primarily on men, also because the intricacy of this abuse thing, we've always come across as we are the bad people here.
We've been shamed.
We've been shamed and so on. For example, for me to even come out and say I was a perpetrator at one point, it took me a couple of years, Dane. That's what it's like.
Imagine, because society tells you.
Because I was hiding it. That's the truth. Like, what? No, I'm cycling for women. Don't be another woman. But here I was, 2 years ago, I done this.
Yeah.
I had to come face to face with it. So, we're doing those workshops to re-establish self-confidence and teach men compassion. Compassion is always equated to a weakly feminine spirit, which is wrong.
Exactly.
We are all born with both male and female within us, and we need them both to utilize them both. But when we as men tap into it, we are either too extreme something, too extreme that. There's labels.
Yes.
And yet, what is intuition? It's really associated with the feminine thing, but when we apply intuition, we're able to heal. Compassion for self. Long baths with
self-care.
I started doing
mindfulness.
I started doing that stuff, man. Oh, it's amazing.
So I hope the men the cis men that are listening to this, they take something away from this.
That is masculinity.
Yeah.
I embrace my masculinity because my like just the word says it's the masculine, the muscles that make me masculine. Yes. Women have it too. That's why we all have egos, not so. But I treat mine. I hug myself. I cry. I tell my sons, cry, boy. You made a mistake. Pause. Acknowledge your mistake. Come back, make amends. Don't tell me you're sorry. A man makes amends. We were actions. We're builders. But now we're building inside. So those are the workshops. We're using NLP, neuro-linguistic programming language, that also helps with either short-term traumas or long-term traumas. Because one thing I've realized in my healing, why I was so passive-aggressive, is because at the age of 10, when my dad was no longer in the picture, I never had a moment to heal the boy and comfort the boy. Everyone else was so worried that the boy was going to crumble to say, no, toughen up.
Yeah, boys don't do that.
Man, yeah. I'm here. That's what moms would say. I'm here, and then moms think their love is magical, they can cover everything. No, you've been too much.
It's definitely not that way.
So those are the programs in which we want to then roll out this year when we're cycling during the November and December period. I'm grateful to project manager who's running everything, Tando.
Yes.
She's amazing, so she's able to then take all these craziness in my head and it makes sense. So we'll have workshops at different, because this year we are going to 16 different locations. We're cycling to 16 different locations. Those are men's shelters, women's shelters, and children's shelters. And when we go to the specific areas and places, they will tell us what they need, and we'll come and bring that. But most importantly, you want to bring the workshops.
Yes.
Because the conversation is one thing, and then we need to have systems in place.
Of course, yeah. So with those systems, are you now trying to get the people who are going to ensure the longevity? Because obviously, when you visit and then you leave, there needs to be some sort of legacy left behind. So
yes, indeed, yes. That's what I was saying with with Tando being also there and leading the project, she's then ensuring that aspect of it. There's something that stays behind.
Yeah.
So we are, it's open. We're opening ourselves up to other organizations, individuals, anybody, stakeholders, anybody who wants to then be part of that. I know that we are looking at the education aspect of how do we empower the little kids in these different spaces. So we're trying to reach out to guys in that space that once we're gone, they can continue their system there. And then with us also as a right abuse, with time goes on, we are hoping to also have our own ways and systems to continue on the communication and legacies.
I love that because we had a conversation, and Tando, your project manager,
she's my hero, man. I love her, dude. I don't know.
She touched on something that really resonated with me, is that, you know, government, they're not doing anything, but, you know, campaigns like Ride Abuse, your campaign is what is being done, you know, to solve and address the issue, because we can have all these beautiful ad campaigns telling men not to abuse, but what's the actual work that goes, you know, into it? And campaigns like these are really so important, and I'm glad that more people will get involved, and through this channel as well, I hope that more people, you know, find some inspiration to get dirty. And on that getting dirty thing, being an activist, because I've tried it and I'm still trying. I know it's very difficult. What are the emotional and physical implications? And I know your physical is totally different because you cycle.
Yeah.
So you just, like, you know, breathe, like, shortly, just take us through that.
It's exactly what you just said. Now breathe. I can't breathe through it, brother. It's Dane. It takes everything. In the beginning, I also wanted to be an activist because it sounded so cool. Yeah. And I want to be that guy, you know, with the hand. Yeah. I'm an activist. Yeah, man, no. The passion and the conviction. It's exactly that. It takes all of you. I feel like for me, over the years, I had to get stripped away so much. Someone said to me today, actually, that Lunga, you speak so much like a marketer most of the time. And I was telling him a story about my cycling, and I remember I stopped cycling for a year.
Yes. Oh, and wasn't that last year? Because no. Was that before that?
I was cycling during lockdown. Okay. Anyway, so
funny.
Yeah. It's okay. So I took a year off, like cycling. Once I take a year off, I would literally say to myself, I'm gonna put the bike away and be like every other man, get 9 to 5. Sit down here, try and build my family, maybe get married. I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. It just didn't make sense. When I went back to the cycling, that's when I understood what the activism really means. It has to be, because if you look at the meaning activism, look it up, dictionary meaning, it says that activism is a militant action taken by someone or some people to rebel against something that is happening. We're all activists, because I'm an activist to what I have created in the past because I was standing in the wrong foundation.
Yes.
I was on sand and I got moved away. Now that I'm on rock, activism means every day. It's balls to the wall. Every day. And how do I do it? By being kind to myself. I do a lot of meditation.
Yeah, and I think that's important.
I do a lot of breathing meditation. I do a lot of I train a lot. And I do a lot of inventory check. Every night I check in with myself and I check in with another living, breathing human being. And I've got support networks. A lot. Some of them, they always say you mustn't talk. I'm part of NA. This is longer. I'm not marketing them or advertising them, but this is what I do. I go to NA, Narcotics Anonymous. I got a sponsor whom I call every time I feel a little craziness coming in or some. I'm like, yo, listen, real quick. I don't know what's going on here. I feel like I'm about to kill a ninja. Like, oh no, breathe or whatever, because they've been through one addict helping another addict.
Yes.
He's got maybe 5 years. He's got 5 years clean. I've got 3, so he knows some things that I don't know. So I'm vulnerable to him, because I need to live. I live under 3 mottos: the willingness to do whatever it takes to stay clean and sober, and with a pure mind, and honesty. vigorous honesty. If I've lied to you, I come back and I say, oh, listen, real quick, 9:15, I done lied to you.
Yeah.
You know? And
you have to be so accountable.
Yeah, and the last part is
actions.
Yeah, the last part is open-mindedness.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I use, man, Dane, to remain an activist, or in actual fact, I've gone beyond giving myself any kind of title, any kind of thing, because all those things are just, they deplete. And
yes.
So that's what I do, and I try and remember why I got into it. So
that's powerful, because I just learned something, because I think when I started out, I was like, I want that sounds like a great title, so thank you for educating me. Before we wrap up, what does success look like for you at the end of the road, when you're no longer with us one day? What does success look like for the right abuse?
Oh, for right abuse. Okay, yeah. Well, for right abuse, I think it's a bit different from my one. I think for right abuse, there's like success is I want to reach 1 million boys, 1 million men. I want to reach 1 million girls, and that's not just what success looks like, but that's a goal in which we are chasing. Actually, Tanda's the one who reminded me of that goal. I had forgotten, and I saw one of the emails she sent. It says there, child abuse aims to reach 1 million men. I'm like, yeah,
we still be working towards.
We're still there, and for me, it's numbers, but it will mean impact for me, because even the last 5 years we have reached quite a substantial number. But for me personally, success is just doing what I said I'm gonna do. That's it. I've gone away from this big kind of definitions.
Yes.
For me, success is doing what I said I'm gonna do, and that's about it. And I'm breathing now. I'm successful.
Yeah, I love that. I have so much. There's a lot.
Yeah,
but we have we have run out of time, unfortunately. But like we mentioned, this is definitely an opportunity for us to keep working together, and we have spoken about this prior to the episode. So there's watch the space. There's so much more gonna come from Lunga and I. I'm really excited about the journey ahead. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. And to everyone that wants to be a part of Ride Abuse, the details will follow. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you take a lot away from this, because my goodness, I was in a masterclass. So thank you so much, Lunga, for having us, for coming onto the show.
Thank you. It was really great, man. Like, I look forward to much more with you.
Definitely. There you have it, guys. Thank you for joining, and I will see you next time.